9:53 a.m. For illustrative purposes, I just captured one video showing the fake sun, but in reference to what I captured specifically on the same day last year, and at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and capture this screen recording just because of the high probative value and something that is just irreplaceable. It's like historic, so I'm capturing it right now. The entity has a fake sun over me at the same exact time last year on March 15, 2024 at 9:52 a.m. This is the video evidence. This is the fake sun that's outside. This is the evidence of a fake sun. It's not sunlight from the sun, but the impossible light activity is speaking to what is a fake sun. And at 9:52, as you can see above, the entity is gang stalking. But I want you to see it. Amplified plane activity. All right, this is the entity that stalks in plane and helicopter in the specific environment, okay? Hovering via aircraft, okay? Amplifying the audible activity and doing so, which is called the criminal elements of amplified audible activity. Amplified audible activity, which is relevant positioning while they're stalking in the specific environment, and they're literally, just pay attention, they just flew under the sun, okay? Again, the sun is a gaseous ball of fire. If that was actually the sun, the entity would be set on fire. Do you see how close they are flying around? They're flying around the sun. The LAPD flew and hovered over me next to the sun. This is a light source, which is in no way present over the Ontario Town Square, which I will continue to remind you. This is documentation establishing that. The state group stalking by the LAPD, the state group stalking in planes and helicopters in the specific environment where the entity is maintaining a light source, rising in alignment to me, setting in alignment to me, surrounding with what is the engineered light, all right, unnatural light activity, amplifying their planes and helicopter activity. These are demons in the airspace monitoring with the people of the state, and they're also watching my documentation as I'm prosecuting the Ontario Police Department while I'm in Los Angeles. This is P.O.C. It's currently 9:53 a.m. and let me be clear, it's one entity. While I'm prosecuting the Ontario Police Department, let me be clear. First of all, I'm prosecuting the state of California. The state of California was acting for a prolonged period via the demon-possessed agency, okay, the corrupt law enforcement agency that is the Ontario Police Department. The same exact demon possession that the LAPD are exhibiting, the same exact criminal conduct that the LAPD is engaged in. It's a state act, a criminal one, and I'm reviewing the evidence that I'm going to use as a vivid illustration for the people to witness today. And I'm not talking about the criminals, the people of the state. I mean the people, the American people, the people of the world, the masses that are witnessing the exposure of what is demonic. Demonic activity is no longer a secret. It's no longer that which you can in any way deny. It surrounds you. You don't have to give any credence to any religious sect or anything like that. It's the pattern of conduct. And these are demons that are flying. They're flying in a circle. This is very demonic what they're doing right now. This is the psychopath that wants to do like this in front of you, under the light source, an engineered light. They're doing it in a helicopter by flying in circles over and over again. And these are dangerous psychopaths who are very, very upset because I'm exposing them. And while they are reviewing, literally, while I'm looking at the videos of the Ontario Police Department who are under a light source, which is not possibly the same sun as over me in Alvarado, okay, I'm going to remind you about those timestamps because I'm going to make more videos. Then they start acting out. They start freaking out. It's monitoring. It's also a psychopath that's reacting to what it knows it's being exposed, okay? This is the people of the state that are posing a threat together. People of the state are group stalking with the state. That's why the environment is present. That's why you have what is a light source, which is not possibly the sun, hovering over me at the Ontario Town Square, remaining for the duration of the day. That's why you remain all day long with a light source. That's why you remain and surround and molest and invade with engineered light. That's why you cross path and engineered light passes all over surfaces. Those are demons that do that. They're stalking, and they're stalking as a group, as an entity. All right, it's currently 9:55 a.m. I'll be back in a couple minutes with another video because I like to give very vivid illustrations of what is the ongoing impossibility. But I'll be clear, at 10 o'clock in the morning, at 10:02, and it's 9:55 a.m., this light source you already know is not going anywhere. It likes to rise in alignment to me and set in alignment to me, which is speaking to the obsession that the Los Angeles Police Department is engaged in while they are suffering from demon possession, and this is informing their criminal conduct. They're engaged in group stalking and monitoring. Group stalking is an act of the demonic, all right, and it's criminal because the government has no business stalking, and they are stalking, and it is inevitably established by the unnatural environment that they're in. This is revealing what is demonic, okay? P.O.C. Alrighty, you can see the entity that has a sun over me in Los Angeles is not going to create any sunlight inside of this apartment in Ontario. It's not in any position over the demon in unit number 48 who's crossing path. As I zoom in on my device, pay attention to what they're doing as they do it, because they're paying attention to what I do while they are inspired to do what they do, which is create activity under a fake sun that is still here 8 hours from now. And also, while I am showing you at the same time at 9:52 in the morning, it is remaining over me while the entity is gang stalking, just like you see in the sky space over my head, where the fake sun is over my head, flying directly over the top of my head in the plane that you saw in the video at the same time. This is the city of Ontario gang stalking as the city of Los Angeles gang stalking me, and this is doing so in the workplace. So that's a distinct method of prosecuting the state of California for what is the unprecedented act of domestic terrorism in the state of California. The sun that's over Los Angeles is not creating any sunlight over Woodside Senior Apartments, and it's also not creating any sunlight through the peephole. Neither is the sun being over literally anywhere in Ontario, including over Woodside Senior Apartments. That's not sunlight. This is concentrated light, just like this is not sunlight. And I'm also showing you what is a distinct method of recognizing that specific environment, and it is in the form of seeing what is the fake environment. And there, all right, this right here is in and of itself speaking to the specific environment where you're recognizing gang stalking by a population, including the government. The government is engaging in gang stalking and is relying on that population that is gang stalking. And it's very precise. As you can see, what is not the sun, the entity, the demon possessed, the demonic environment includes the reflection of the fake sun over all surfaces where it can reflect off of. That's what the purpose of this, where you're looking at even the position of the fake sun is not going to cause this reflection at this low elevation of the vehicle parked in the carport. It's also not going to be the case in the natural environment where the sun is over Alvarado Gardens over the top of my head at the same time on this same day in 2024. This is understanding what is the significance of stalking. That's recognizing stalking, conspicuous stalking, by those who know who you are. You're not stalking a stranger. You're actually stalking somebody very specific. You know who you're stalking, and you're conspicuously stalking them because you are assuming that there's no way that you can prove that you are stalking that person, that you have no actual relationship, nor do you have to have a personal relationship with them when they're maintaining presence in an environment that is conducive to criminal surveillance and psychological torture. And the engineered light, the unnatural environment, the demonic environment, referred to as the specific environment, is conducive to ceaseless surveillance, also on communication devices, where the demon possessed, just like the demon in this video, while I was zooming in during the course of this video, as I was zooming in to get the demon that was flying over my head in an airplane, the demon that resides in unit number 47, this one right here, he resides in unit number 47 over here. He's hurrying up. He runs up out of nowhere. Those are the demon possessed that are always in position. Very psychotic behaviors. Okay, he comes out of nowhere and he's rushing to cross paths with me while I'm zooming in on my device, doing so under what is the fake sun amongst engineered light. You're mindful of the fact that it is impossible that this could be the natural environment under all circumstances. This is license 8GEN638, by the way, who was stalking in the path, monitoring me while I am in use of my device. They are aware of what I pull up on the internet while I'm about to get a screen recording, etc., etc. They're assuming position and monitoring together. And RGS is gang stalking. They're going to federal prison. All right, this is not lawful landscaping. This is criminal activity creation, and they're monitoring while impossible light is happening. If you believe that a landscaping contract for what Ontario's Woodside Senior Apartments, it's not enough money to compensate for what is federal prison. It's not worth it, but that's what they're doing. You're going to federal prison, and they're gang stalking while they're engaging in what is the surface assessment of what is landscaping. They're stalking in the path amongst impossible light. This is what the government, this is what Satan needs his demons to do, is maintain presence and activity. Now their demonic activity is criminal conduct on behalf of the state, and they're doing it for purposes of a landscaping contract, which is not enough money to compensate them for. They're going to prison, and if they're not natural born citizens, they're going to be deported, and they're doing this over some raggedy landscaping contract. It is not worth it, in the same way that the entity will learn that it's not worth it sacrificing your housing, sacrificing your career, sacrificing your reputation, sacrificing your freedom and your liberty, where you thought that you were going to take mine. You thought you were going to have me locked up in a mental asylum because you're targeting an American citizen in psychotic methods that no one has ever heard of before. And so the ordinary target individual doesn't survive and is not able to speak to what it is that they were subject to before they're kidnapped
and framed with crimes that they didn't commit, or quote unquote diagnosed for a mental health condition that they do not suffer from. And because someone is a human being and reacts even emotionally, even quote unquote irrationally, which I do not find it's just for an outsider that's not subject to the program of psychological torture to define what is reasonable for another person to react. Okay, I'm not advocating on behalf of violence. There are people that can respond in that way. I'm not advocating on behalf of that, but I'm speaking to the fragility of the human mind, the capacity for the human mind to experience this sort of system and not react in some sort of way, to compose yourself, to even exhibit anger. And that is not any diagnosis for any sort of mental illness. The entity is entirely corrupt. They are psychologically torturing you, and then they are sitting back and looking to garner some reaction or response, and that is the material where they're calling themselves diagnosing you when they are gang stalking you from the beginning to the end. It's entirely malicious. This is exactly what I documented on June 16, 2022. And so while the entity is stalking me with impossible light, I took the opportunity to get the documentation of the fake sun that's over me on this day in 2024. So that's the significance of that. I want to show you now, while you're looking at this fake sun that's over me at 9:58 a.m., don't forget the entity is keeping the fake sun, as you already saw, over me into the evening. So what was just captured 48 hours ago, I believe, the entity is keeping the fake sun, 5 p.m. This is the fake sun. So let me go ahead and put this side by side so you can see it. I'll let you see it right here. But this was 48 hours ago. The fake sun, the sun that never moved anywhere in order to create any sunlight on the patio glass door, which is not sunlight, it's engineered light. It's creating the shadow of an object that is a distance away from the patio glass door. That's an upright shadow. That's speaking to horizontal light. That's like laser-like light activity, not sunlight. It's also speaking to what is necessarily not moving. It's 9 o'clock in the morning now, 9:41, 9:52, 9:53 when I started this video, and this is after 5 p.m. This is 5 p.m. on the dot. The video ends at 5:08 p.m. and the fake sun is hovering outside of the same patio glass door. Remember, it's reflecting off of a vehicle parked in the same parking lot right now at 9 o'clock in the morning. And at 5 p.m., you're going to see this fake sun that's outside of the same patio glass door. This is the entity the asinity of the demon possessed who are engaged in a program of psychological torture, and the stage that they're all standing on, acting like this is normal life. They're all stalking together. And the demon possessed are the ones that are engaging in this very detailed and diligent system of stalking and monitoring. Monitoring is demonic. This is captured at 5 o'clock in the evening.
This is the same fake sun that RGS is going to be prosecuted for gang stalking under, because you have what is hours earlier at 7:26 in the morning, daylight savings time or not, idle presence of a fake sun. All right, this is the patio furniture that you're seeing, the shadow of it. You see how tall it is, but the shadow of it is appearing down here. That's called stalking with engineered light, not sunlight. And this is the maintenance of a...
Now, hold this frame right here because I want you to see. I want you to recall that it's 9:41 in the morning. This is 5 o'clock in the evening. This same parking lot where I'm looking out of the same patio glass door, the sun is reflecting off of a vehicle in the same parking lot. I'm looking out of the patio glass door at 5 o'clock in the evening. The fake sun is in the same position. Understand the purpose of this conduct. This is a method of stalking with the fake sun while it is shown to be a quote-unquote reflection off of a surface. This is, first of all, not the sun. Second of all, it's not even the reflection of the fake sun that is positioned over me at this apartment building. Understand, you are looking at the demonic while I show you these things. The vehicle that you can see outside of this patio glass door, it's in a position where the fake sun is on the opposite side of the units 33 through 48. It's not in a position where it's going to be reflecting off and aimed at such a perfect angle where it's reflecting off of that will be the driver's side of this vehicle. It has nothing to do with the fake sun. In the same way that the engineered light, this is demonic, in other words. You're looking at a manifestation of a demonic appearance. The demonic, the spiritual, is something that you can witness in the physical. This is demonic. It's impossible that the fake sun that you see over the apartment building is reflecting off of this vehicle. And it's also impossible that the same sun is still present, by the way, physically present. This is the fake sun itself over the same location. Understand how the demonic accomplishes the same reflecting off of the vehicle. And that's how we would refer to this with words as we convey our ideas and thoughts. But this is not a reflection of the fake sun. This is the demonic. This is Satan himself. Amplified ongoing noise right now. The demons that are going to prison and mental asylums at 10:07 a.m. because of the highly damning, probative evidence that you're witnessing, and they engage in that pattern. That's why they're going to mental asylums. The federal judge is going to recite all this. The demons are thinking it's a distraction. It's not a distraction. This is why they're all going to prison and mental asylums. And don't forget the demons that like to gang stalk with their kids in Unit 41 while they're engaging in this together as an entity. They're going, every single last adult over 18 is going to a mental asylum. Understand the significance of this fake sun, quote unquote, reflecting while I'm looking outside of the patio glass door and seeing the actual fake sun outside of the same patio glass door. It's the same affect with regard to stalking with a fake sun. This is relevant to the psychological aspect of that specific environment following you everywhere that you're going. All right. Especially while I'm documenting it. Again, I'm speaking on behalf of the ordinary target individual I'm documenting. So the entity is the demon possessed are the criminal defendants, the co-conspirators. Okay, those who are already proven beyond a reasonable doubt, and they will be subject to a very severe prosecution in a federal tribunal. But what they continuously engage in is their tactics against one who is, I am the only one that's impervious to this system. Their tactics, Satan's devices do not work against me. So they are targeting me in the ways in which they ordinarily target people that is designed to break them down. Understand the significance of this. Understand the harm pursuant to this. When the ordinary target individual, if they were in a position, but they're not, the ordinary target individual is not getting this deep into this evidence. You're not getting this far. They're already dead. They're already kidnapped somewhere. They've already been silenced, so that no one would ever believe them for anything that they would try to articulate. Because how do you say something like, in the ways in which I have done it, that a whole fake environment, a fake sun, who has heard of that? But for proving it. This is a tragic injustice. It is tragic. And these demon-possessed state actors are sitting in courts, and they are using deliberately crafted legislation, like the Welfare and Institutions Code, to psychologically torture and harm and poison and kidnap American citizens when they suffer no mental illness whatsoever. Understand the significance. While I'm documenting the fake sun, these ignoramuses engage in what is providing evidence. Do you understand that this does not work? It's weaponry for me to prosecute them. There is no sun in Los Angeles that's reflecting off of the vehicle in Ontario, California. And the position of the fake sun over the apartment building that is still here, as you know, 9 hours later, is not going to be reflecting off of this vehicle in the same parking lot. But these are the tactics. The ordinary target individual is subject to this. And everybody in units 33 through 64 is going to prison for it. Everybody at Woodside Senior Apartments is going to be prosecuted under the Violence Against Women Act for stalking. And they're also going to be prosecuted for psychological torture, stalking together as a community, an unprecedented violation of that federal law at this HUD-regulated property. And the third-party property management company itself is going to be civilly and criminally prosecuted through the evidence of this supernatural occurrence happening while I am at the venue as an occupant. Okay, the entity is doing so with very severe malice, but the entity that is more malicious and obsessed and psychopathic, mentally ill that is less intelligent. They're not very cognizant about what's actually happening to them while they're more focused on me. Okay, this is, again, providence with regard to justice. This is providence with regard to your ability to understand the spiritual realm, this is darkness. Okay, this is spiritual darkness. Witchcraft, demon possession, demonic activity, Satan himself, who is a spirit, is very real. And you are able to know that by this very specific environment. And this isn't based on whether you believe that Christ Jesus is the Messiah, that he himself walked this earth, never committing any harm, God himself, and died on the cross and rose 3 days later. No man has ever done that. That is also speaking to what is the reality about my ability to speak this truth to you and your need for Christ Jesus as your Lord and Savior if you do not know him. Because Satan is real, and Satan is using a corrupt government that is targeting American citizens, and I'm speaking to it now. I'm prosecuting it now, but this is something that has been happening for a very long time, and Satan is continuing and going to get more desperate because Satan is being exposed. Satan does not like that. Just like the demon possessed, they don't like being exposed. They become louder. They become more aggressive. They become more hostile. They become more defamatory in their speech and in their libelous conduct in corrupt venues like courts and whatnot. They become more desperate. This is Satan that is using people to engage in that. But this is speaking to the hostility toward being exposed. Their demon possession is directly relevant to the mental illness. I want to point that out. So nonetheless, this is relevant to the video that I just captured, 9:52 a.m. And so while we're here, I want you to be mindful of the fact you are looking at the impossible. Here.
We'll call the entity gang stalking me after 5 p.m. where the entity in unit number 41 is gang stalking me via their kids at 5:17 p.m., 5:18, 5:19, 5:20. This is the same apartment where I stood. That was just days ago. This is 9:42 in the morning where the fake sun is over the top of my head. It is here for the criminal purposes of a whole population that's residing, by the way, at Woodside Senior Apartments of Facilitating Venue. RGS is indeed gang stalking. You see them under the fake sun after 1 o'clock in the afternoon while it's over the same apartment building over me. And this is a reflection of a fake sun. That's not natural light activity. It's not even the sun that's reflecting off of the window. You're looking at the demonic. All right. The fake sun that's over here on this side of the building is not perfectly reflecting off of this vehicle over here that's parked underneath the structure at this low elevation. Okay. The entity has the fake sun on this side, and you're talking about what's over the side of the building. It's not even in any position to reflect off of that window over there. This is the demonic in plain sight. You also know that it's demonic because after 5 p.m. the fake sun is still right here, seen through this same exact patio glass door. And the entity is keeping the fake sun where the entity is in unit 41 is using their kids to pace around and engineer light and create audible activity while stalking in the path in what is the means of what is, engaging in what is the means of surveillance, including contributing to the delinquency of minors while you're gang stalking by residents and having children engaging in that sex offense. And they're also doing it while they are aware of the fact that they are being documented. They're presenting their children in the evidence where they're going to be prosecuted. The entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct at 9:43 in the morning, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 hours later, the fake sun is still here. Okay? And it is here and not in Los Angeles, and it is here and not in Florida, and it's never possible in Florida. It's also not in Florida now, 3 hours ahead of us at 12:43 p.m. The fake sun is right here. This is requiring that there's more than one sun, and also it is also a scientific fact, and which is at the same time a scientific impossibility that the sun is at the same time over me in Los Angeles. But that's exactly what I'm documenting on at this time of year, where LAPD is gang stalking on a daily basis, and a fake sun is over me while I go to work every day and while I stay inside of my apartment at 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6 on the 3rd floor, where the sun rises in alignment to my living room window. The sunset is in alignment to my bedroom window. And the sun is at no point ever departing from being over me at that venue, including on a cloudy day when those clouds part, the fake sun remains over me in Los Angeles. There is no natural environment that would include the sun being over units 33 through 48, where the entity is gang stalking me, and impossible light activity is cascading across Tracy Banks's interior of her apartment while I'm publishing the kidnapping that this same community committed via criminal defamation on June 16, 2022. They're all going to prison in units 33 through 64. The direct evidence of their gang stalking is shown through the reflection of that which is not possibly the sun off of a vehicle parked at this facilitating venue. It's a means of stalking with the fake sun, stalking with engineered light. It's also psychological torture, and you have what is over 9 hours while the fake sun is still here at the end of the day, which you'll recall. You could just pull up the video that's already on YouTube and on the website at thisisthepoc.wordpress.com. The entity is keeping the fake sun here hours later, which is the stationary idle presence of that which is not the natural environment. That's not the sun. It's the evidence of surveillance, and it's of a demonic nature, and these are all psychopaths that are all stalking as a community. AVANATH Capital Management is going to be prosecuted here by the presence of the specific environment.
All right, so I want you to see, this is the entity keeping the fake sun at 9 o'clock in the morning, and the entity is maintaining this environment all day long because the whole population is acting together to maintain activity. And the environment also is affected by whatever it is that I'm doing. So while the demon possessed, in other words, that are keeping me under surveillance, this is the state of California. When I'm referencing the demon possessed, I'm referencing the mayor, I'm referencing the mayor's office, I'm referencing the police department, the fire department, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. I'm referencing the population, the civilian population, while the demon possessed are keeping me under surveillance. The entity that is hostile, it is a direct impact on how the weather is in real time. Okay, and also the environment itself, i.e. the engineer light that starts swiping inside the walls and on the ceilings inside of this apartment. This is a terrorizing environment. The state is going to be prosecuted for psychological torture. You're engaging in psychological torture while simultaneously seeking to criminally defame somebody who is perfectly healthy and fine. You are doing so because you are seeking to engage in the pattern of conduct. Criminal defamation is serving for kidnapping. Criminal defamation and the entity targeting you by gang stalking is that which precedes murder. It's that which is designed to cause and inspire suicidal ideation. Okay? The entity is doing this within a documented pattern by the city of Ontario, by the state of California. And it is a direct impact on the weather, as it's not even the natural environment. Okay, so the demon-possessed that are gang stalking in this specific environment, what I do and as I do it, and the hostility of the entity that is keeping me under surveillance on my devices and physically gang stalking me as a population, it's an effort by the entity itself. It has a direct impact on this specific environment. That is also relevant to the prosecution of the state of California. Okay, and it's directly revealing the malice. This malice is relevant to their demon possession. These demons are very malicious, and these are psychopaths. Okay, this is closeted mental illness by your average neighbor. Okay, people who have never been diagnosed for their psychopathic personality disorder. They've never been diagnosed for their gratification for causing the suffering and engaging in voyeurism, witnessing and obsessing with the person that they like to inflict harm to. Okay, this is the mental illness of those that are in the profession of so-called mental health and psychiatry, by the way, in the medical profession. This is the mental illness of those that are in law enforcement. This is the mental illness of those that are in the legal profession. This is the mental illness of the entity that is gang stalking the civil population. It is the demon possessed. This is no exaggeration, and this specific environment is letting you know about all of this, where I'm subject to this criminal system. So I wanted to document that today. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and show you, this is what I am publishing on the internet today, where I am subject to this entity. You can see this online at the website this is the POC.wordpress.com. And this is where I'm publishing the kidnapping that I am subject to on June 16, 2022 by the Ontario Police Department. This is Corey Watson. He's going to federal prison. And so is everyone else that engaged in kidnapping me from the Ovid Family Community Library, where the entity has the fake sun directly over the roof. This is speaking to the specific environment. This is speaking to the pattern of conduct that is underway, while then that corrupt entity that's engaged in public corruption then abuses the operation of the criminal justice system and the mental health program and the medical profession itself. The abuse and the exercise of fictitious authority under the Welfare and Institutions Code. This is how they engage in a kidnapping of myself. Okay, the simultaneous engagement of what is psychological torture, amplified noise right now, 10:20 a.m. AVANATH Capital Management is going to be civilly and criminally prosecuted. The ongoing simultaneous engagement in psychological torture via gang stalking and also criminal defamation, that's the malice of the corrupt entity, and you're going to prison for that. The entity does so to steal from you, to falsely depict your character in order to kidnap you, and it also precedes murder. Okay, the entity is doing so with direct knowledge that you under no circumstances suffer from any mental illness. This is what Tracy Banks has been engaged in. This is what the community at Woodside Senior Apartments is engaged in, and they are interested and very aware of what is the purpose of gang stalking me. This is a business in California. This is why they have deliberately crafted legislation that is entirely unconstitutional, where they are able to engage in this targeting system in order to manipulate the circumstances in someone's life and falsely depict them as mentally ill under the Welfare and Institutions Code. Okay, and my evidence is and my evidence proves that. But also the entity that has used my evidence in order to support mental illness, that's the malicious entity. They're going to prison for that. They're going to prison for that, and that is unconstitutional legislation, by the way. That is unconstitutional. That is no diagnosis for mental illness either. This is what ordinary target individuals lacking the evidence to prove the unconstitutional legislation, to prove the unlawful and corrupt activities of the state and the population. They don't typically have this evidence, and justice requires the laws must change, and those that are currently being kidnapped and those whose lives have already been taken, justice has to be answered for that. I'm literally speaking for those who are already dead. They're already gone. This is a business. They're making money. They steal from people in the state of California. They being the government directly and the government vicariously, the people of the state, who use this targeting system to engage in that very unlawful objective. All right, and this is what I'm subject to. It's currently 10:22 a.m. So I just want to remind you really quickly about who's being prosecuted while the entity is gang stalking in the midst of this video. AVANATH Capital Management's impunity is a matter of evidence. While the fake sun is over me on this day at my leasing office, at the management office at what is the 1800 through 1818 North Alvarado Street, and I am specifically at building 1810. My leasing office is here, and I'm standing in front of building 1810 where the fake sun is over me, and the entity is terrorizing me in planes and helicopters with the fake sun right here over me, which is not over Alvarado Woodside Senior Apartments, over units 33 through 48, which is where it's positioned right now. That's where it's positioned right now, over this building, over me, where it remains, as you also see in this video, after 5 p.m. They're engaging in a program of psychological torture and harassment and terrorism by stalking and harassing with amplified noise that is centered in this unit, while I am also at the same time prosecuting the state. Everyone in units 30, I say it again because you can say it with me. Everyone in units 33 through 64, federal prison and mental asylums. Everyone employed by AVANATH Capital Management at this venue, including Linda Reyes, federal prison and mental asylums. Everyone at this entire venue, Woodside, all 144 units are being prosecuted for gang stalking, which is domestic terrorism, and for stalking under the violation of the Violence Against Women Act. The entire venue, all 144 units, while they are acting with the intent to obstruct justice. That is not a very wise tactic against a federal prosecutor. But this is what they're doing. You know why? Because they're mentally ill, i.e. the mental asylums. Okay, the entity is doing so on behalf of the state. AVANATH is being prosecuted for this. AVANATH is a third-party corrupt company, not exercising any constitutionally protected right to have a business. They are profiting. All of those profits are going to be drained, and damages shall serve to punish for engaging and being a criminal defendant, acting and facilitating what is federal group stalking, monitoring, domestic terrorism, in furtherance of murder, defamation, kidnapping, and theft. It is currently, again, 10:24 a.m. on March 15, 2025, and this is P.O.C.